Welcome here to Goodwin Park, round one of the National Premier League's Queensland Series season, and it's kicking off with a bang as Olympic host Gold Coast United. I'm Simon Smale and I'll be taking you through all the action today, and you joined us midway through a minute's silence here as the Olympic supporters remember Margaret Perry, a valued servant here at the club and indeed loyal supporter. So that silence impeccably observed. And we'll soon be underway as these two teams belatedly get their season up and running after the rain of the weekend. Olympic, who finished in fourth spot last year, beaten grand finalists for the second year in a row. They're in the red and white stripes. And Gold Coast United, who plenty fancy to be contenders for a final spot themselves this year, are in the white. But it'll be Olympic's new signing, Olade Kanyede, who'll get things started when our referee Izzy Terrell decides he wants to get into things, and we get into things well, and that is a first touch there for number 12 Costa Saros, who's celebrating his 100th match in all competitions for Olympic. Scored 23 goals in that time, the 23-year-old. Of course, you remember that memorable goal against Adelaide in the FFA Cup last year. We'll get into a little bit more of his career highlights a little bit later, as Gold Coast United, who have recruited heavily and recruited well in the off-season, get things going from right to left. But that's a loose pass, and one of the other Centurions, James Kumineo, picks the ball up. He offloads it to Matt Mundy, another one of the Centurions. This Olympic does have such a settled side. They go back to one of the newer players, Lockie Hunter, former Brisbane Roar youth keeper. So a few flashes of lightning go off over to the left-hand side, fair distance away though, so hopefully we won't have any interruption in today's players. It's a lovely pass there from Jez Lofthouse. Cuts back inside, hits Saros just behind the Olympic players. They might have got a slight touch from a Gold Coast United defender, and that was a ugly-looking challenge there from Brandon Reeves. Play will be allowed to continue as Jean-Philippe Lassam, who cops a bit of a beating every time he gets on the field, or certainly did last season, picks up where he left here with a bit of a shine of a shin. He's limping back into place now as Gold Coast United get things moving with Jason Campbell, and now they go all the way back from Thom Davidson, defector from Gold Coast Knights. Good to have competition on Gold Coast, and we'll get things underway pretty quickly with a Gold Coast derby this coming weekend. We'll be down there for that one. Yes. Gold Coast United welcome Gold Coast Knight to Coplex, 6 o'clock on Football Queensland's social media streams and YouTube channels, as Kumineo had to hurry to get that ball upfield, and it's only onto the head of Justin Mackay, but Mackay's header is relatively aimless, and we will continue with a goal kick. So Olympic under Ben Khan, a little bit to prove. They've reached the grand final in the last two seasons, but came up just short. They would have been bitterly disappointed with the way their 2019 season ended. They were a man up against Gold Coast Knights at Perry Park for such a long period of time, as a free kick is given there for a somewhat late, robust challenge on Kumineo over on the far side of the field from another new signing, Sam Smith, who moved from Gold Coast Knights in the off-season. 12 goals and 25 appearances for the big Englishman, and massive line for Gold Coast United with Sam Smith and Brandon Reeves. It caused problems to just about any defence, and this is a defence at Olympic that conceded the most goals out of any of the top four teams last year with 43. They did score the 65, so it was fighting fire with fire in the 2019 season. Ben Khan has made moves to arrest those frailties at the back. Tom Alton, signing from South Melbourne, the former Brisbane City youngster, not in the squad this evening. Who's dropped back there, that centre-back. Here's an opportunity for Xander Guy over on the far side of the field. He's going to deliver that cross to the back post. Kian Kuba is there. Kuba's going to try and pass Shelford Diaz. A little bit too clever there from Brandon Reeves, and here's Jez Lofthouse, who is perhaps on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the weight classes. Here he certainly makes up for that lack of bulk with his fast feet and fast skill. We've already seen him play so far this season. This Monday gives the ball away sloppily to Kian Cooper, who can't capitalise. It was a good challenge by Jack Glover. And now Olympic will build through the middle through Daniel Leck, former Royal Youth player. There's Kazuya Ito, one of the other Centurions this side. Of the 5 Centurions for Olympic in the National Premier League's Queensland era, 4 of them are on the pitch at the moment. The only player who's not is Danny Byrne. He's taken up his spot next to Ben Kahn on the sideline, the Liverpudlian, who was such a fine servant for Olympic in those early years of the NPL when they reached consecutive grand finals in 2013-14, winning the first, a penalty shootout against Brisbane City and losing the second to Palm Beach, some of who players played in that game today, Jim Mackay being one of them. The ball's gone over the top towards Sam Smith, who has pace. Kumine has to chase, and he's going to concede a corner here early for Olympic. Gold Coast United getting an early opportunity in this match. We do have a moment. We should pay a lot of credit to the ground staff here at Olympic. The pitch is looking absolutely incredible, considering the amount of run that we've had here into the southeast corner of Queensland. It's truly remarkable. We've got a game taking place. We have had a little bit of rain today, but nothing to stop the pitch from being playable. It does look like it's cut up in a couple of places already, but fits in with the description that I was offered earlier when I arrived at the ground, that there were some areas that were quite saturated. United taking plenty of time on this corner kick from the far side field. It's whipped in pretty low. Sam Smith rose highest, could only glance his head across for a throw-in. Michael Thwaite giving belated chase, and he'll make his way quickly back into position, or perhaps at his advanced 57 years he doesn't quite like getting back too quickly. He's in a bit of no man's land at the moment as Jean-Philippe Lassam gets his head onto that one, and almost Inka Kinyade. Instead, it's all the way back to Aidan Munford, a goalkeeper who plenty at the Gold Coast United side have high hopes for. New Zealand under-20 and under-23 goalkeeper. He has hopes of going to Tokyo and the Olympics. Is that a goal kick or is it a throw-in? It's a throw-in. Sam Smith did all that he could there in chasing that ball down and making things difficult. And was that a foul throw or not a throw taken quickly at all? The referee Izzy Terrell just telling Shelford Deers that he wants that throw-in taken correct and from the correct spot. He's right on that corner flag. So Gold Coast looking to pin Olympic here in these early stages. Costa Saros does well with his back to his opponents, and a rather shanked clearance, but it's worked out for Olympic in his Jez Lofthouse, and Jez Lofthouse has pace, and he has a man who has pace alongside him. Lovely opportunity here for Kinhard. It's a really good save from Munford, who had to come out bravely. And that was the first clear-cut opportunity of this National Premier League's Queensland season. And it fell the way of Olympic, and it was made by Jez Lofthouse and just failed to be converted by Yenka Kenyahinde. Off-season acquisition for Olympic. He scored 8 goals in 150 minutes of pre-season action. Player who has plied his trade in capital football. Spent the 2019 season in the Sunshine State Holland Park Hawks in the Football Queen Premier League. Scored 12 goals in 15 matches, only failed to score 5 games in the second tier here in Queensland. And the delay is because we're missing a ball. You don't need me to tell you that that's fairly essential in these early stages, or indeed at any time. His leg dispossessed in the midfield by Guy, but then Jean-Philippe Lassam does what he is so good at doing in disrupting play once again, and Olympic will build in their opponent's half. Here's Shelford Deer, such a dangerous player when he wants to be. It's a heavy touch though when it comes inside from Yinkai Kinyade. And now it's Gold Coast United's turn to build from the back. Haven't beaten Olympic in the last 4 National Premier League's Queensland matches. It was 2 2-all draws back in 2018. Olympic did get a touch lucky down on the Gold Coast. Adam Edgar scoring 2 penalties after Gold Coast United led by 2-0. I did have a player sent off as well, which didn't help matters, and then Brandon Reeves scoring 2 goals here at Goodwin Park in the reverse fixture. It was a little bit more comfortable for Olympic last year. 4-0 down at Coplix as Chris Lucas scored a double. James Kuminau scored a rare goal, only his 5th in over 113 appearances for Olympic. Good header it was too, and he was pretty pleased about it from memory. Yoel Scholl scored the other. Here's an opportunity for Saros down the middle. Can he get a goal on his 100th game? He's going to pick up the ball now. He shapes to shoot. Thwaite does really well, just getting his body in the way. Cuts back over onto the left foot though, does Saros. He's just dinked in. But here comes the counter-attack from Gold Coast United. Smith's in the middle. Reeves is arriving as well. It was just a little bit too heavy a touch from Xander Guy, who's gone down, and Daniel Leck just turns around just to check on his opponent, I think, and just check the move as well. But it's gone back to Mundy, and Mundy just sparks Jez Lofthouse into life, and Jez Lofthouse doesn't need many invitations. He cuts back inside. Jez Lofthouse, and that's so close to the opening goal of the season for Olympic. And Jez Lofthouse, he is an excitement machine when he gets on the ball, and when the space opens up in front of him like that, he is so dangerous. And Gold Coast United almost found that out to their cost. Excellent opportunity for Jez Lofthouse in these early stages. The thing is, he didn't have too much space to work with either. Just cut back inside and just switched the ball between his feet and did so well in creating that opportunity for himself. But here come Gold Coast United. Kian Kuba trying to release Thun Davidson. Davison gets a touch there from Jack Glover. It will be a corner, the second of the game for Gold Coast United. And having just conceded at one end, Gold Coast United have a good opportunity here to perhaps get a goal themselves. So much tall timber in the penalty area. You've got Michael Thwaite, a veteran of 13 Socceroos appearances, over 200 A-League appearances for 4 clubs. It's Mundy who heads out, an A-League veteran himself. Shelford Dearce does brilliantly. And then that was a challenge that came in on Leck. So much space on this near side for Kuba. Kuba's cross a little bit too heavy though. There will be questions asked of that challenge on Daniel Leck. And it was a polite questioning of Izzy Terrell, another former Raw youth man, who's moved up here from Pascoe Vale in Victoria. A couple of Victorian expats coming back to the Sunshine State. Tom Alton amongst them. We've already mentioned him in the broadcast. Olympic playing the ball out from the back. Glover to Lofthouse. Lofthouse's touch was a touch heavy. And Xander Guy picked his pocket. Here's Kian Kuba. It was a lovely through ball. Well, Brandon Reeves gets a return ball. Jean-Philippe Lassam was there just to make things awkward, and it is a Olympic throw-in. Excellent work once again from Jean-Philippe Lassam, the former Surfers Paradise player in the Gold Coast Premier League, so he'll be familiar to a few of these players who've played locally down on the surf side. Just a disruptor in chief. He's such a key player for Olympic and stopping play is one of the unsung roles really. How's that for a touch there from Yinke Kanyade? And Kanyade's got some space ahead of him, and he is not taking a second invitation to accept that. Ito dispossessed, but it's still there for Lofthouse. Lofthouse inside to Ito. Ito tries to go inside again, and there was a handball over on that far side of the field. I didn't quite see who was the guilty party for Gold Coast United, but he's certainly arguing his case. Free kick in a dangerous position for Olympic. It was Jason Campbell, the former Palm Beach player. He played in the NPL for the Palm Beach Sharks and Gold Coast City until 2017. Went back to the Gold Coast Premier League in 2018. Des Lofthouse is there. Kumineo there acting as a smoke screen. Oh, it's a well-worked move. Oh, it's a brilliant effort! Well, Daniel Leck nearly scored one of the goals of the season in the first half of the season. What a free kick. The goal frame is still rattling. It was a training ground move that almost came off to perfection. Smith sliding in there to make an intervention. There's Leck who slid in again, and then another sliding challenge from Diaz. They're making use of the slightly slippery surface, these players, at the moment, but we'll have to be careful, of course. We haven't had a caution yet. It's not to say there won't be any. Both these teams know how to foul when it's required. Let's put it that way. Here's Michael Thwaite. Goes across to Justin Mackay, 33-year-old from Swindon, England's West Country. It's that ball aimed towards Sam Smith, who's from Derby. The Olympic will take the ball out. Diaz. A little bit of dancing going on there between Diaz and Davison. Olympic will go down the other avenue. Took a little flick off Xander Guy's head. Jason Campbell goes backwards to Yarbe. Yarbe on the ball once again. Has Thwaite inside. He'll probably use the former Gold Coast United legend from the A-League days. And here's Thum Davidson. There are options. They're just crabbing across field though at the moment. Gold Coast United. Olympic pressing well and forcing them to go all the way back to Munford, who was almost beaten so spectacularly there by Daniel Leck. It's a training ground move involving both he and James Kumineo, and Des Lofthouse just lurking with intent, although never had any intention of striking the ball. And having seen the way Daniel Leck hit that one, you'd question whether you'd need anyone else to strike a free kick in those dangerous positions for Olympic this season. An absolute rocket into the top corner. And had it been half an inch lower, you have to think that that ball would go in, as Sam Smith wins the header but concedes the foul. And perhaps it was for the best, because Brandon Reeves made a little bit of a mess of his follow-up effort from inside the penalty area, rather snatched at it, perhaps having already heard the whistle from Izzy Terrell. Sam Smith just using a little bit too much of the physicality that he has become known for, both here on the Gold Coast and down in Melbourne. Spent the 2018 season at Port Melbourne in the NPL Victoria. Scored 22 goals in 22 games for Gold Coast City in that 2017 season before he left. Former Rushden and Diamonds, Lincoln, Cambridge United, Woking Town man in the UK. Saros rides the challenge from Campbell and then switches play brilliantly over towards Ito on that far side of the field. Ito cuts back inside to Lofthouse. Lofthouse gets past one, gets past Yarbe. Yarbe recovers brilliantly, and that's the first corner of the day for Olympic. They've caused some panic from their set pieces so far already, have Olympic. They're going to be able to do so again here with this corner. Leck over there to take. Defenders are massing on the edge of the penalty area. A little bit of hokey-cokey going on, but it was a poor corner in the end, and now a free kick goes in favour of the visitors. Again, using the body illegally. Izzy Terrell just getting a bit of a conversation going with Tyler Ragstaff, a former Olympic player, of course, from 2017. Played 22 games in that 2017 season. Tyler Wagstaff suffered awfully with injuries in 2018, but recovered to play 18 matches last year down on the Gold Coast with United. Sent off in the derby against Gold Coast Knights, and just another reminder that if you want to watch that Gold Coast derby, it will be live on Football Queensland's match of the day, Saturday at 6 o'clock down on the Gold Coast, and I am very, very excited about that as Mundy does well. Both players slid in the end. It will be a goal kick. Xander Guy, sorry, it's not Xander Guy over on that far side of the field. It's normally the position that he would occupy himself in, and racing down to that byline. He'd switched places momentarily with Tyler Wagstaff. And Olympic will build from the back once again, and they'll switch that play long. It goes over Lofthouse's head. It was aimed towards Ito perhaps. It could have been cut off by Wagstaff, but they've both made a mess out of that, and here is Ito. Heavy touch, but inside to Leck. He's opening up for Leck a little bit, and indeed for Shelford Diaz on this near side of the field. Plenty of space for Diaz. He's going to go up against his marker, going to twist and turn, and Thum Davidson can't do much about it. It hits the side netting by way of Thum Davidson, and it'll be a second corner in quick succession for Olympic. Plenty of attacking intent from both sides so far. We have not yet had the opening goal. It is still Olympic 0, Gold Coast United 0. Simon Smale with you in this National Premier League's Queensland commentary from round one, a belated round one after the rain of the weekend. This is just the second game to take place this season. It's a bit low for Leck. It was intended though towards Mundy, who was ghosting in on the edge of the penalty area. He can get much of a touch though, and Gold Coast United clear, but only up to halfway as Lassam gets a foot in, but that doesn't go as far as he would like. It was Justin Mackay there once again. He's making a nuisance of himself. Can't quite get the ball to a target though, and Olympic will build from the back. Patient play from both sides when they have had possession. Glover. Daniel Leck just in front of us here on the halfway line was desperate for that ball and made certain that his teammates knew about it as well. There were options. Leck wants it again. It's a good sign for Daniel Leck to want the ball at his feet at all times, and after the free kick that he struck and so nearly set everybody into pandemonium here at Goodwin Park, there's no wonder he wants the ball at his feet. He wants to create more magic. Didn't go in last time, it might go in this time, and a free kick's given over on that far side of the field. I think it was for the first challenge. Daniel Leck questioning, as is Kazuya Ito, playing incredibly his 163rd game in all competitions for Olympic tonight. Kazuya Ito, it's 145th NPL Queensland match. And we're a little bit late for the Australian Open, but new balls please. And a little bit too deflated. Quite often get this in these early stages of the season, not quite up to speed with how everything's going to work. We'll get play back underway pretty quickly. And here's Thwaite. Yabe, 25-year-old from Japan, finds Wagstaff, back to Yabe. Yabe will go to Michael Thwaite, wearing the captain's armband today, as he did last season for Gold Coast United. He's signing such a boost for Gold Coast United, and he's been joined by another former teammate as Sam Smith gets in behind here, or at least tries to. That's really lovely football at the back. Calm, confident play from Matt Mundy. The veteran player just cool as a cucumber really in dealing with that threat, and that's what Olympic are going to need at the back. Under pressure from Sam Smith and Brandon Reeves, and those long balls forward. They've dealt with them pretty well so far. Campbell. Here is Reeves. Olympic will build through Mundy. Mundy inside. Leck had to turn back. Played Jean-Philippe Lassalle into a bit of trouble, and here's Jez Lofthouse, has a bit of space. Lofthouse tried to pick out Shelford Diaz. A groan goes up along the grandstand, and you can see why, because now Kian Kuba's going to have a go, and Shelford Diaz is going to get a talking to here, because there's no real way he was going to get that ball, and Shelford Diaz knew it, and so did Izzy Terrell, and Izzy Terrell has told him that the next one will see his name get taken for a booking, and you'd have to say he's possibly a little bit lucky to avoid one there. Stopped the counter-attack, and Gold Coast United and Kian Kuba in particular were looking pretty handy, it has to be said. Mackay looking for that long ball inside. Mundy gets ahead on it. He was under a spot of pressure from Brandon Reeves. And it's perhaps fortunate that that glancing header went back comfortably for Lockie Hunter. Glover, Mundy, Black on the ball again. Ito back to Kumanao. Kumaneo's pass to Lofthouse, not a good one. Mackay's going to try and thread the needle here. Sam Smith barrels through the back of Jean-Philippe Lassalle. Again, he'll be collecting bruises in no time. Jean-Philippe Lassalle is just the type of player he is, that niggly sort of player that breaks up attacks, much in the same way that Danny Kim is for Lions, those unheralded players that do such good work. Speaking of interventions, that was Shelford Diaz breaking up that play. Ball's cut inside, and Yabe had to be clever there, and he did very, very well. Otherwise, Yeko Kinyade would have been free. Sam Smith, heavy touch, and Shelford Diaz leapt on it. So Gold Coast United throw-in. Still 0-0 here at Goodwin Park in Yeronga. Just a stone's throw from the Brisbane River, which has seen its volume swelled slightly over the last few days of rain. Really is huge testament to the work here at Olympic that we've managed to get a game go ahead, albeit 72 hours later than advertised. Well, apologies, it's 48 hours later than advertised. Fantastic effort. Leck to Diaz. Back to Leck. Leck gets caught by Smith. Will be a free kick, a relieving free kick. And I have to say that's a little bit sloppy there from Sam Smith. Not going anywhere was Daniel Leck. King Cuba is about 5 yards away from this free kick being taken. Diaz goes long over his head anyway. Oh, there was space there for Yeko Kenyade. Just couldn't control the ball. One of a number of transfers for Olympic. One of the main transfers in the National Premier League's Queensland this season was, of course, the acquisition of Shane Smeltz for Gold Coast United, former A-League legend. He's not in the side or indeed the squad today. Another boon, getting the old gang together, Gold Coast United really, down there at Coplix on the Gold Coast hinterland. Izzy Terrell not happy with the throw-in being taken from good 15 yards from where the ball went out. And it's as you were. Gold Coast United not inclined to press this late in the first half. Here's Diaz. You bet your bottom dollar that Olympic will press and press for the opening goal in this game before they have to go into the sheds on what is a warm, muggy evening here in Brisbane. Lofthouse just got caught by Mackay. It's clever from Lofthouse, just using his body. A free kick a fair way away from where Daniel Leck had that almighty effort earlier on in this half. If you have missed it, I'm sure it'll make its way to some social media platform via Football Queensland or indeed Olympic over the next few hours and days as Lofthouse picks up the possession. There's space opening up ahead of him. There's not much space and it closed on him a little bit there. Tyler Wagstaff just using his strength to nudge Jez Lofthouse off the ball as a brief glimpse of an opportunity just flickered out. Tidy from both sides, but not spectacular so far. Mackay. Long ball. Hunter was a long way out of his area, it looked like. It looked like he was just about to catch the ball on the chest. Instead, he got his arms out the way and showed remarkable composure. Diaz inside to Saros. Saros, that's an inch-perfect ball over to the far side, and Ito back inside to Lofthouse. Lofthouse twisting, turning, twisting again. Lofthouse with the opening goal! He's threatened a couple of times, Jez Lofthouse, but he gets Olympic's opening goal. And it was a little bit of magic from the foot of the former Sunshine Coast junior. He twisted and turned and created space where there was none. And the Olympic magician manages to strike again. It's Olympic leading Gold Coast United by a 1-0. And 10 minutes to go in this first half. How will Gold Coast United respond? They have been a willing participant so far in this contest. Just need that little bit of quality, and Jez Lofthouse has quality in abundance. Perfectly placed shot past Munford, not a lot he could do. That space opens up for Jez Lofthouse. He very rarely makes a mistake, and he didn't there. Excellent goal for the Olympic number 11. There's an opportunity here for Kuba. It's just picked off though, and here come Olympic again through Daniel Leck. He might not have the pace, but Costasaros inside will. That's Glover though, he certainly won't have the pace. Ito comes on the inside. Ito's going to get the return ball from Lofthouse, or he will eventually. A little bit of tugging going on there from Tyler Wagstaff, and it'll be a free kick for Olympic. As Lofthouse has shown what he can do, and Gold Coast United are going to keep him on a pretty tight leash if they can from now on. And you saw that from Tyler Wagstaff. That's all he could do really. Have a little tug at the shirt, and we'll be up to Matt Mundy perhaps, or maybe even James Kumineo to whip this ball in. It's towards Glover, who rose highest. Not a noted goal scorer, has only scored 4 in his Olympic career. It's 3 last season. I guess the question was always going to be how Olympic managed to make up for the goals that Chris Lucas scored last year. Lucas, who scored 4 goals against Gold Coast United in 2 matches last season, as well as a hatful of other goals across the year. He has departed to Victoria. Dandenong Thunder is where you'll find Chris Lucas this season. Of course, Alex Smith is also a notable absentee. Shoffer Diaz gives a good shove there. Shoulder to shoulder, so not a problem. You can see that King Kuba didn't expect that, I think it's fair to say. Mundy, Olympic, just controlling possession. Done well. And Saros does well there under pressure from Mackay. Sam out wide to Lofthouse. Lofthouse has acres of space. It's closed down by Xander Guy. Xander Guy does really well in the end. Campbell out wide to a teammate. Kumino does well to put pressure on Sam Smith, and then the ball is just hacked inside by Brandon Reeves. Glover. Notable that Olympic have been quite fluid in their formation so far, with players popping up all over the spot. Loose pass there. It'll be Junior Yabe. Thwaite. He scored in the first round of last year's campaign against Moreton Bay United, did Michael Thwaite. One of his 4 goals last season for the 37-year-old. Does have a Premiership Championship double with Melbourne Victory in the A-League back in 2008-2009. Michael Thwaite would dearly love to lead Gold Coast United to some success this season. Side face a deficit here early though. Saras with a nice little flick. It didn't quite go to Yunka Kinyade. It was bright early, but has rather drifted out of the game. Kahinde. Mackay, slightly more advanced position than Davidson, has to go back to Campbell, who attempts to pivot. Xander Guy does well, and it's a goal kick, and Xander Guy shows a fair bit of frustration, and that might lead to some attention from Izzy Terrell. It's just frustration with himself, I think, more than anything, although I think Kazuya Ito perhaps aided and abetted that frustration from manifesting itself by Guy just kicking the ball into the advertising hoardings over on that far side of the field. Just a talking to. So far, Izzy Terrell has kept his cards in his pocket, and long may the game be played in a spirit where that is allowed to be the case. Lofthouse picks up the loose ball from Guy. Here's Leck. Space shut down pretty quickly, and Sam Smith has an opportunity here. Here's Kian Kuba. Kuba back inside to Mackay. Mackay to Davidson. Davidson wants support on the outside. Davidson was there. Mackay towards Sam Smith, who rises pretty high. Shelford Diaz is there, and he was one of 2 Olympic players who was able to get his body in the way, along with Jack Glover, and they needed to be there, those 2 defenders, because Sam Smith is a handful enough for 1 defender. And as you've just seen there, he can nearly cause mistakes to be made when there's 2. Olympic survive though. There's 5 minutes or so remaining before the half-time break, and it is a throw-in to Gold Coast United despite protestations from Kazuya Ito. Felt perhaps that should not have been the case. Much movement. In the end, it's Campbell who comes short. And they have to go all the way back to Thwaite. Thwaite to Thun Davidson. And Davidson back to Mackay, who's dropped deeper once again, trying to pull the strings wherever he gets his foot on the ball. Campbell doing likewise, and there's a little bit of space on that far side now for Wagstaff to deliver. First time, it was flat tapped by Hunter. It's there for Kian Kuba. Sam Smith's there. Jean-Philippe Lassagne was back, who unable to head the ball clear. It's only as far as Justin Mackay though. Gold Coast United perhaps sensing something here at the end of this first half. They did always finish their halves strong last season. That'll be a tactic that Christian Rees will want to see again here, especially when there is just a sniff of an opportunity, as there was there. It was snuffed out pretty quickly though by the combination of Kazuya Ito and Kayinde, and the return ball just too far ahead Yinka Kayinde. Not quite happened for him so far. Smith lurking behind Glover, and Glover throws his arms up in the air at frustration at heading that ball out. Midway in his defensive half of the field, over on the far side of play, just in front of the Olympic bench. Ben Khan just instructing his players as where they need to position himself. Jez Lofthouse moving away just to block off that pass to Yarbe. Does go to Yarbe, and Lofthouse pounces. Did get a bit of a touch, but it's still there for Thwaite, but Thwaite does have to go all the way back. It's good work from Jez Lofthouse. Now Munford to Mackay. Gold Coast United having to rebuild, and just too hard from Matt Mackay. He's frustrated, perhaps with himself more than anything. King Cuba just unable to keep that ball in. Olympic will build from the back, as they've done so well over the course of the last few seasons, really. It's a hallmark of the way Ben Khan plays his footballers. The ball is just dinked inside to Lofthouse. Lofthouse with a nice touch. Thwaite came flying in, and Thwaite did just enough. Two players at perhaps opposite ends of their careers. Lofthouse could have a bright future ahead of him. He said to me during the All-Stars game that took place before the bushfire relief match that the Brisbane Roar hosted against the Brisbane Roar legends, said that it was a real thrill of him to play on Suncorp Stadium and to score a goal at Suncorp Stadium. He said it was a bit of an ambition filled, and you'd have to think with a player of his talent, it shouldn't be where his ambition ends. I'm not saying that it is, but he's just got talent to burn, and we saw with the opening goal here today that when he turns it on, magic happens. Nice ball over the top by Thwaite, perfectly weighted to Thum Davidson. Davidson's going to be chased down by Shelford Dias though, and Dias does well. He's going to challenge there, but Mackay does well, lifts that over top to Thum Davidson again. They'll renew hostilities, Thum Davidson and Dias. It'll be an Olympic throw-in. Shelford Dias up for the fight. Good to see another quality player in this Olympic side. Can't keep that ball in though. An opportunity perhaps for Gold Coast United. Thwaite goes back to Yarbe. Yarbe comes back to Thwaite, playing the ball between the pair over the halfway line. Now it's Mackay's turn to get involved. Back to Yarbe. A little ponderous from Gold Coast United. They're just trying to prise open those gaps. Wagstaff tried to open one with a little bit of pace and was unable to do so, and Olympic will build again from the back. Ito to Lofthouse, who had to check his run, goes back to Ito. Ito will crossfield to Saros. Saros with the chest. Lassam out wide to Dias. Lovely football from Olympic. The run has been continued by Lek, and it's just drifted over the top. Lek and Thwaite come into contact. Thwaite's going to head back to his goalkeeper, Aidan Munford. It was a fortuitous bounce perhaps for Michael Thwaite, but he did well to come across and close down the danger, because Daniel Lek had a real glint in his eye as he was chasing that ball down. Lovely move from Olympic from one side of the field to the other, defence into attack, and it created an opportunity. That is when they are at their best. Yarbe having a rare excursion over the halfway line. He's going to pop the ball back to Thwaite and drift back into his own defensive half. Mackay's back there as well. He'll take up the charge now. Campbell. Good work to get that ball to Wagstaff. Xander Guy wants it. Xander Guy gets it. And Wagstaff was offside. Hands go up into the air all over the Gold Coast United side of the field. 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Olympic lead by a goal to nil. Jez Lofthouse, a little bit of magic inside the penalty area. He twisted and turned and created some space and fired the ball past Aidan Munford into the bottom corner of the net. And last year's grand finalists start where they mean to go on, and that's a lovely crossfield ball by Ito to Dias. Dias inside to Saros. Saros wants support. He might go himself here, gets the shot away. It was straight at Munford. little way either side, and we could have been in business with a second goal. Instead, it's Gold Coast United who'll be on the counter-attack with Kian Kuba. Kuba wants to find Smith, does find Smith in the end, who had to stop his run. Mackay's up there. Mackay with the effort. He's always going over. But it had Olympic worried for a second. Good opportunity, good counter-attack from Gold Coast United. They're certainly not out of this one yet. The goal has not been overly threatened. I can't remember Lockie Hunter having to make too many saves, if any. The threat is there. Here's Ito. A threat of a different kind up the other end of the field. Well, they're standing off Lofthouse and letting him run. He's gone 10-15 metres now. Back inside from Leck. Lofthouse again, it was just the wrong side of Costa Saros. He was rather caught betwixt and between, was Jez Lofthouse. Perhaps saw the run out of the corner of his eye of Shelford Deas. And it ended up being a little bit of nothing, unfortunately. Lofthouse trying to make something happen over on that far side with Wagstaff, who goes back to Thwaite. Thwaite and Yabe have momentarily switched sides. Perhaps so Thwaite can have a little bit of instruction from Christian Rees. Perhaps they've just spotted something over on that far side that could be exploited in these closing seconds of the first half. Xander Guy does well, very well from Xander Guy, and he finds Van Davidson. Unfortunately, the bell goes, and that is the end of the first half in which Olympic threatened without really causing too much alarm for Gold Coast United until Daniel Leck cannoned a free kick off the crossbar. It was a stunning effort from Danny Leck, straight off the training ground. But then an absolutely magnificent goal from Jez Lofthouse has broken the deadlock in the 36th minute. Just found some space in the penalty area, twisted, turned, and it opened up for him. He fired into the bottom corner of the net, and it was the opening goal, the only goal of the first half here at Goodwin Park. We'll have a short break. Don't go anywhere. There's still plenty of action to come here from the first round of the National Premier League Queensland. It's Olympic 1, Gold Coast United 0.
Oh, amazing touch. Spectacular.
This time the cross. A towering header.
The keeper's out. The net's open.
Some people can't hide their passion. Don't hide yours. Join our team.
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
Happiness is knowing you'll find the perfect vehicle every time. Thrifty, smiles all the way.
When you get to your 70s, you want to still keep moving, and that's the whole idea. And then with this sport, you get your aerobics because you're walking, and people think walking. Well, you can see behind me we're getting a workout. Of course, the accent here is on passing, so you know you've got to use a bit of brain power as well, and it improves your balance because you're standing and you're over the ball. I'd highly recommend it. I mean, I can't wait to get here each week.
swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every...
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
Happiness is knowing you'll find the perfect vehicle every time. Thrifty. Smiles all the way.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
When you get to your 70s, you want to still keep moving, and that's the whole idea. And then with this sport, you get your aerobics because you're walking, and people think walking. Well, you can see behind me we're getting a workout. Of course, the accent here is on passing, so you've got to use a bit of brain power as well, and it improves your balance because you're standing and you're over the ball. I'd highly recommend it. I mean, I can't wait to get here each week.
Oh, amazing touch. Spectacular.
It's time to cross. A towering header.
The keeper's out. The net's open.
Some people can't hide their passion. Don't hide yours. Join our team.
Μη σκόλυνε το τηλέφωνο μου. Εγώ σου τηλεφώνησα τώρα. Εντάξει, δεν είναι το έχω μαζί μου σπίτι. Άμα δεις το μη σκόλυνε το τηλέφωνο μου. Λοιπόν, αύριο... Non je dače, please. Ja te hoću kansu na pokanja proći kako vi. No, nije. Kada vi. Hej, hoću kansu kako vi sa pokanje. Hola, signorita. Bye bye.
No, yeah, funnily enough. Yeah. But you know what, you ignore it.
Welcome back to Goodwin Park, where Olympic lead Gold Coast United by a goal to nil. It was a sensational strike from Jez Lofthouse in the 31st minute. He really did strike it so beautifully. All the work in the build-up to create some space into the opposition penalty area. There was not much space when he got there until he twisted and turned his defender inside out, to be honest, for firing a low shot past Aidan Munford, who could really do nothing as the ball sailed into the far side netting. He has been exciting when he's got the ball, and he's looked pretty good even without it, Jez Lofthouse, as has Daniel Leck in that first half. He's wanted the ball at his feet at almost every opportunity, and that's been a real plus point as well in this first half here at Goodwin Park. Gold Coast United haven't really managed to fire too many shots. Daniel Leck, I should mention, hit the crossbar with a free kick that frankly has to be seen to be believed. It was an absolute thunderbolt, beautifully struck from the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. A little pre-worked routine with James Kumineo and Lofthouse, who just stood off and watched it happen in front of him, really. Leck just ran around the side of Kumineo before curling his shot into the crossbar, and it cannoned down and away. Monford was beaten all ends up. He made a good save. Minke Yahine. On the other side of the ball, Gold Coast United haven't really threatened. Sam Smith shown a couple of glimpses, caused a bit of a nuisance of himself in that Olympic back line, but Mundy has managed him pretty well on a stiflingly muggy evening here in Yeronga. Very, very humid. The players will be feeling it, you'd think, in the closing stages as Gold Coast United get a corner early. It's their fourth of the game, their third of the game, apologies. You'd think with their height they'd cause problems here. Xander Guy was there. Hunter flapped again. He's flapped a couple of times in those situations, but did pretty well. And Lofthouse rides one challenge and manages to come away with the ball. Although now he's dispossessed, and that's a challenge on Kian Kuba. Taken quickly. No yellow cards in that first half. Being well refereed by Izzy Terrell. Wagstaff tried to thread the needle to Sam Smith, who's going to use all of his strength. And Sam Smith saying, "You should have passed it to him," pointing at Xander Guy. Moved from Logan midway through last year, having played and scored 14 goals in the 2018 season. He's a former Olympic player. In 2017, played 11 games, but really made his mark in the under-20s, where he scored 17 goals in just 12 appearances here at Goodwin Park. And the current crop of players, though, stepping up and causing problems with this Gold Coast United defence. It's opened up there for Kazuya Ito, and over on the far side is Diaz. What can Diaz do? He'll surge into the penalty area, and he wins a corner for his side. It's Olympic's third of the game, and both sides exchange corners in these early stages. Gold Coast United couldn't do enough with their opportunity. What can Olympic do here? James Kumineo scored a header down at Coplex last season as Olympic won 4-0. It's back to Mundy, first time shot. It wasn't all that far away from sneaking in at that far post. A couple of well-worked corner routines. You've come to expect that from Ben Khan. It's bright ideas. Youngest coach, in Australia who has an AFC Pro licence. He studied for that over the last couple of years in Korea. And he shows his ingenuity and inventiveness in those set pieces. Reeves plays that out to Guy. Guy's looked lively in this first half. Hasn't quite had the end product there. Just gets caught by Jean-Philippe Lassam. And he can't believe it. He hasn't won a free kick there. He starts to question assistant referee on this near side, Jessica Borg. He's incredulous, is Xander Guy. He possibly has a point. I think Jean-Philippe Lassam did get a little bit of a touch on the ankle. We'll have to put that behind him because he has looked lively down the right-hand side. He's still complaining, Xander Guy. Sam Smith gives chase. That's given away badly by Glover. An opportunity here for Gold Coast United to pounce. The pass from Reeves to Guy isn't a good one though, and Guy's forced into the corner. He crosses left-footed to the edge of the penalty area. Nice touch there from Campbell, but he's swamped pretty quickly. It wasn't Campbell, it was Thun Davidson, and Thun Davidson's won the ball back after Olympic give it away again. It's tried to be kept in by Dias. That was possibly an error, though Daniel Leck was there just to interrupt the flow of Gold Coast United. They'll have to make do with a throw-in over on the far side of the field. Substitutes warming up for the visitors. They have Joel Bruggy, Jamie Vesey, Travis Taylor, and Anis Lagahai on the bench. Guy goes down again. He has to avoid feeling victimised here. A couple of decisions going against him. Oh, that's some pace from Yahinde. Yahinde gets to the byline. Yahinde's going to still go. He's still going, and it's Michael Thwaite who gets his foot there, takes the ball and all. Inka Yahinde goes down. Certainly no penalty. There were a couple of cries in the bleachers. That ball just strays out, and Jez Lofthouse's eyes lit up there. An opportunity almost presented itself. Wagstaff goes back to Yabe, and Gold Coast United have been comfortable in possession when they've had the ball. Just haven't really managed to find any sort of end product. Guy, as we've already mentioned, has looked lively on a couple of occasions. That's a little bit better, a little bit more inventive than Davidson. Can't get the ball past Saros though. Saros and Dias linking up on that near side, and here's Jez Lofthouse. Jez Lofthouse coming across the field. Xander Guy does well. Lofthouse never quite got the ball under control, and Guy, lovely ball through there. It's going to be played in towards Sam Smith, but it was far too heavy a touch. And that's a disappointment for Gold Coast United. Xander Guy did well. It was a peach of a pass. Kean Kuba couldn't do anything with it. Now that's lovely interplay between Leck and Lofthouse. Lofthouse goes wide to Saros on his 100th, and it hit the side netting. And Michael Thwaite is going to go into the book, the first player to be shown a yellow card today. There's a good advantage being played, and it was a yellow card for taking out Jez Lofthouse after the play, I think.
Facebook and YouTube.
It's the first real moment for Izzy Terrell to have to assert his authority, and It was just for those accumulation of fouls, I think, from Michael Thwaite. He protested his innocence, but he did take out Jez Lofthouse after the fact. Lovely interplay between he and Leck there. It's a decent ball there, though, by Mackay. Reeves is throwing himself about on the edge of the penalty area, but Gold Coast United have come out with some intent. Diaz has completely taken out Kuba there. Opportunity for Sam Smith. He hits the stanchion behind the goal. It was a fantastic ball in. Shelford Diaz gets shown a yellow card, and I think that was probably warranted. It was Sun Davidson who got taken out. Lovely pass from Kian Kuba in towards Sam Smith's first time effort. Just the wrong side of the post from a Gold Coast United perspective. It's Justin Mackay now who's just having a little word with Izzy Terrell, who's had a tough start to this second half. Plenty to do, plenty of questions being thrown his way. It's the turn of Jean-Philippe Lassam now to just have a word. Some serious intent from Gold Coast United. Some control needed. Can Lofthouse provide it? It's a little bit of afters coming in there. That was from Wagstaff on Ito. Sam Smith. Wagstaff again. Ito's going to continue his run. It was a poor touch from Wagstaff that takes it out. Just a little bit of afters coming in. Just after the ball's gone, players continuing their runs. Frustration building. Gold Coast United perhaps just trying to assert their authority, and Olympic are certainly not ones to back down. Fascinating viewing. There's a fascinating 40 minutes or so remaining in this first round clash. A belated first round clash. As Jez Lofthouse gets up possession, and when he gets a head of steam, he can be very difficult to stop. Michael Thwaite has just been booked. Lofthouse twists and turns and cuts him inside, but Thun Davidson comes back and helps out his veteran centre half. Lovely football from Olympic and lovely football from Jez Lofthouse. It was Inke Yinhade. And that cross just evading everybody and out for a Gold Coast United throw. And it was Inke Kahinde did so much good work there to create that opportunity. And Jez Lofthouse, when he's at full pace, is a sight to behold. We're going to have our first substitution. Travis Taylor coming on, made just 4 appearances last year. He's been promoted from the under-20s into a senior setup. He's come onto the field, and Xander Guy, who's coming off. And it's frustration for Xander Guy. He's worked very hard for former Palm Beach and Gold Coast City Junior, ex-Olympic player. Worked very, very hard. Perhaps Travis Taylor can provide something different. Leck gets dispossessed. Ito races to get there, links up with Lofthouse. Lovely from Lofthouse. Kazuya Ito! Was always going wide, and he's won a corner, in fact, so it must have taken a deflection. Oh, that was lovely from Jez Lofthouse, though. Fantastic positional awareness. Knew exactly the situation he was in. Knew that Kazuya Ito wanted that return ball and delivered it with that slight deft of touch. And it opened up for Kazuya Ito, and but for the deflection, we could be celebrating a second Olympic goal here. Entertaining game so far, this. Corner is short to Lofthouse from Leck. Leck making the angle wider for himself, though he's closed down pretty quickly. Now Lofthouse in that vacant position in the forward left pocket. Wants support, does Lofthouse. Leck could have made a run, did make the run eventually. Once the ball returned, Psaros can't get it to him. Psaros is going to have to defend here and does intervene just before the ball finds its way through to the substitute, Travis Taylor. Again, that final ball just lacking for Gold Coast United. Shelford Diaz down on one knee and then spinning around. Sam Smith battling hard and gives away the free kick because he had a big grab of something of Shelford Diaz. It was either his shirt or his shorts. I wasn't quite sure. He might have even been grabbing his hand, but he was pulling back Shelford Dearce had every opportunity. Dearce showing great strength against the big English centre forward. Olympic building their possession well. Lofthouse just down on his haunches. It is an incredibly humid evening here in Yeronga. No rain at the moment. Just a slight breeze coming across, so it'll be welcome for those players that aren't running. There's very few of them at the moment. Shelford Dearce inside to Saras. Saras lets it run. Yinka Kinyade just unable to make that possession held, and Kazuya Ito ran into Izzy Terrell, the referee. Players allowed to continue though. Over on that far side of the field is Kian Kuba. Kuba's going to cut back inside, has options inside of him. One of those options is Brandon Reeves. Reeves plays the ball back outside. Cross is going to come in towards Smith. It's too deep for him. Travis Taylor at the back post makes a bit of a mess of it, but still has time and space to deliver a cross of his own. He goes all the way back instead though to Tyler Wagstaff. Wagstaff back across to Yunya Yabe. Now Campbell, pace coming out of this one. Cross comes in, it's comfortably dealt with by Mundy, didn't have to move. We're going to have another go from Davidson, trying to get to the byline, trying to get past Shelford Dearce, and he's unable to do so. And Shelford Dearce has a bit of space in front of him, and he's going to have an opportunity to pick his pass, but he might have his pocket picked instead by Finn Davidson, who recovered well. And it's good work from the Gold Coast United left-sided player, and left-sided players in fact. They've done very well to win that ball back. Here's a substitute Taylor, Kazuya Ito bundled into him, and Taylor got the last touch. It'll have been an Olympic throw-in on this near side, taken quickly. No rest for the wicked here today. And Dearce was rather pressured into playing that ball quickly. Sorry, it wasn't Dearce, it was Jean-Philippe Lassam, and he's come up with a little bit of an injury, just running across with his short strides, moving a little bit freer now. King Kuba doing really well over that far side. Tried to go past one player too many, and then Shelford Dearce had to slide to get there ahead of Ewan Thun Davidson. All a bit frantic at the moment here at Goodwin Park. It's Olympic, the hosts, leading by a goal to nil. Another new ball required. It's going to be thrown inside. Kuba has space. First time inside to Mackay. Mackay left his foot up on Jean-Philippe Lassam, and Jez Lofthouse shows a couple of tricks after the whistle's gone. Lassam, we mentioned it before, comes up covered in bruises after every match, I'd imagine. Such is the punishment he gets from all the players on opposition teams. He's copped another one there, accidental, you'd think, from Justin Mackay, who's certainly going for the ball. The ball was there to be won as well, but so is, as is so often the case, Jean-Philippe Lassam just got there first. Mundy short to Hunter, who goes back to Mundy. Mundy will cut the ball back across to the near side of the field, and James Kumineo. Lofthouse just didn't get that ball under control. It might work out for Olympic, but it was good work from Wagstaff to just poke that ball away from the foot of Yinka Kinyade. Wagstaff has a bit of space and has a bit of time. How is he going to use it? By going back to Yunya Yabe, who has even more space and even more time. Now Wagstaff again, just over halfway. Philippe Lassam doing well there. Wagstaff perhaps had a foot up on Yinka Kinyade. He's a bit frustrated, and Wagstaff is feeling his left shin after that challenge. Perhaps he got caught more than Yinka Kinyade did. Munford to Yabe. Didn't take it cleanly, Munford, but there was no real danger. No Olympic player within 30 yards of the former Central Coast Mariner. He's a product of the MacArthur region, perhaps a Bulls prospect for when they enter the A-League from Harrington Park Hornets. He's have ambitions of playing pro, as I'm sure a few of these players on the field have. Mundy needed a call then. He didn't deliver it. did Hunter, and an opportunity now for Hunter to show his hands, and he gets down well to save because the header was only as far as Brandon Reeves. And that could have been a little bit more concerning for Olympic had it perhaps been played a little bit better, as Lofthouse is caught flat-footed there by substitute Taylor, who's warming into this contest. Doesn't take much warming up when the night is as humid as it is today, but he did have a slow start, the youngster. Ethan Davidson and Cuba. Thwaite takes responsibility upon himself. It opened up for him, tried to play the ball through to Smith. And now Thwaite's out of position, and the pace is there from Kinyade. He goes to ground on halfway, no foul. It was a good challenge from Sam Smith. Kian Cuba is really battling with Shelford Diaz over on that far side of the field. We're going to have our first substitute of the night for the hosts, and indeed the visitors as well. Tyler Wagstaff is making way for the visitors. Former Olympic player. He's worked hard down this right-hand side. Jean-Philippe Lassam is coming off as well. Perhaps there was a bit more of an injury than you'd expect. Jean-Philippe Lassam.
Double substitution being made by Olympic FC. Number 17, Daniel Driver, on for number 19, Jean-Philippe Lassam. Number 23, Rashida Pujol, on for number 12.
Rashida Pujol's coming on as well. Daniel Driver also coming on. Double substitution. The Gold Coast United player was Jamie Vesey. Two substitutes for Olympic, one for Gold Coast. It'll be a Olympic free kick over on that far side of the field. Costa Saros, who has been taken off on the occasion of his 100th match for Olympic. Wasn't able to get on the score sheet, the 23-year-old, but still a memorable occasion nonetheless. I'm sure he'll remember it a lot more if he can get the win, if he can come away with 3 points to start the season for Olympic. Bit of a delay there. I'd be lying if I said I knew what it was for. Sam Smith having a conversation with Izzy Terrell, perhaps asking that same thing. Olympic get things underway. That's Padial almost getting a touch there and going summarily dumped onto his backside by a very strong challenge. Olympic taking their time over these throw-ins, as is their want and their right as leaders in this contest. Free kick is given over on that far side of the field. It was a late flag, but a flag nonetheless. Shelford Diaz, the party who was fouled. Just looked like he got tripped. This could be an interesting proposition for Olympic. Daniel Leck is over there. They've been inventive with their set pieces, have Olympic so far. What are they going to be able to achieve? Padial dropped short. Kumineo, Padial, back to Leck. Hasn't quite worked out how they would have expected, I think, this one, Olympic. Padial and Leck exchanging passes over on that far side of the field. Padial's going to try and skip through. Absolutely no space at all, and he got taken out in the meantime anyway. Jez Lofthouse then got a little bit of a touch on his marker, which was Travis Taylor. And a free kick in a far more promising position, you'd have to say, for Olympic here, with a much better angle to deliver a ball and cause Aidan Mumford a few problems you might expect. Lofthouse is there. So is Lek. Kumineo standing over it as well. We've seen this before. Daniel Lek rattled the crossbar significantly in the first half from a similar position. Jez Lofthouse has wandered away now. It will just be left to Daniel Lek, you'd expect. They're still directing traffic is Kumineo, and it is going to be Kumineo. Just a touch to Lek. Flicked inside. Lek gets the return ball. Lek fires that one in. It was saved well by Munford. Still there for Lek, who barges off Travis Taylor. They're doing battle over there. Lek gets through an impossible space and gives away a free kick in doing so. Again, these inventive free kicks from Ben Khan. Vesey. Ex-Logan Lightning player. Thwaite. Cuba. Sam Smith onside. The flag goes up. He was offside, and it did look like he was offside, the big Englishman. Padial receives the quickly taken free kick. Now Driver switches play to this near side, and Kazuya Ito, nice touch from Ito. Ito plays the ball in towards Jez Lofthouse. Jez Lofthouse wants to wait a little bit. It was well covered by Travis Taylor. Padial has space. It's closed pretty quickly. Lovely ball for Jez Lofthouse though. Lofthouse cuts the ball back inside. It's clever from Jez Lofthouse. It is a goal kick though. Might have gone through the legs of Yunya Yabe. Jez Lofthouse with tricks to spare, you have to say. As defence's legs tie, you do think that Jez Lofthouse could become even more of a factor in this game, although you have to account his own fatigue. And he has been on his haunches a couple of times. Lofthouse just flexing that left leg. Lek, Driver goes all the way back to Hunter. Lofthouse, closed down quickly by Vesey. Turns Vesey pretty quickly. Ball didn't quite do what he wanted it to do there. Punyal gets the ball from Ito. Punyal wanted the return pass to eventuate, but it never left his foot. Instead he goes to Driver, who goes across field to Glover. Glover goes inside to Lek. That's a good ball. An attacking pass forward. Here's Pandial. Pandial tried to thread the needle to Ito, and had that ball gone through, Ito was one-on-one with the keeper. Olympics stretching this Gold Coast United defence now. Well, here come the visitors in the white shirts. Diaz just waited, and then pounced when the opportunity presented itself. On Kian Cuba over on that far side of the field. Then Davidson, the former Gold Coast Knight, will take the throw. And it's straight out of play by Sam Smith, who's had a frustrating evening here in Yeronga. Campbell gets himself out of trouble with a pass to Thwaite. Thwaite comes across field to Yabe. Gold Coast United try and build something from the back once again. Mackay and Campbell linking up. Now Thwaite again. He'll get more involved in the ball, as more involved in play as the chances and time runs down Michael Thwaite. He's never out of the action, always there or thereabouts. It's Pandial plays the ball upfield to Yuki Kinihade. First time pass from Daniel Driver is a little bit too ambitious for Pandial. Just lacking that cutting edge, Gold Coast United in the final third. Done well up until this point, and it's just from now, but that's good. This time from Taylor, who breezes past Ito, using his strength well. The pass isn't a great one, though. Shelford sliding in, perhaps fortunate that the ball fell to a teammate. That teammate is Padial. Padial has a bit of time and space. Lofthouse will go back to Ito. Lofthouse not quite as sharp as he might like at the moment, perhaps feeling the fatigue a little bit. Glover may look to switch play. Taylor is alert to it, though. Instead it's short. Almost picked off was Ito there by Vesey. He got a shout, though. He got one or two shouts from his teammates. Driver and Ito create the space between themselves. And Mundy wide to Glover. They look very secure at the back, have Olympic, although they haven't really been tested in honesty. Inca Kahinde not too keen on chasing that at this stage of the match, and perhaps understand why. Very, very warm, even just sitting here. You can see the sweat gleaming on supporters' faces. The players will be feeling it. Vesey forced to track back, and to Mackay he goes. And retaining possession has not been a problem for Gold Coast United. It's just doing something with it when they have got the ball. Well, they give it away there. Driver just nipping in. Could work out for Gold Coast United, though. Here's Campbell. Slow, though. Ponderous. And ultimately a little bit disappointing from Gold Coast United at the moment. Here's Thwaite. Oh, a bit of a miscue there from Glover. It could work out, though. The shot does come in. It bounced awkwardly in front of Hunter. And Reeves did put plenty of spin on the ball, but I don't think he hit it quite as well as he'd liked, and is in fact just limping around a little bit after playing that shot, so perhaps shanked it a little bit. Ito, you never know where he's going to play it first time, or like that, take it under control and deliver a pinpoint pass onto the head of Yinka Kinhade. Jez Lofthouse is going to nip in here. Lofthouse does well, uses his strength to get past Vesey. Now Lofthouse has an opportunity. It's opening up for Jez Lofthouse. Lofthouse now with a shot through the legs of Michael Thwaite. And that might be the cries of Christian Rees screaming, come on, getting the ball out. Acrobatic header from Driver. Lofthouse once again, doesn't open up for him then, but Driver gets on to the ball, links up well with Yinka Kinhade. Ito. Driver. Mundy. Pace coming off the ball. Kumineo. Mundy to Glover. Back to Mundy. Olympic host Easts on Sunday, 6 o'clock in their round 2 clash, before heading down to Carrara to take on the Knights. A replay of that grand final. And they're back at home to take on Peninsula Power here at Goodwin Park. Tough start to the season for Olympic. And 3 points here will be very welcome for Ben Khan and his men. Not a particularly easy start for Gold Coast United either. Trip up here to take on Olympic, and then the derby next weekend. We'll be live from Coplix for that one. They travel up to Easts the following Saturday and then host Lions the week after. So the tough games keep on coming. Mackay popping up over on that far side of the field, trying to make something happen. Campbell goes back, and Thwaite, very deliberate, precise passing, but the pressure perhaps starting to build. Olympic defending in numbers, all 11 men behind the ball. Retiring Kinhade, just trying to close down their markers. Mackay's pass inside to Kian Cuba after the cross from Taylor was pretty good. Mackay forces Driver to just, or sorry, it was Leck to just hurdle a challenge, and now Leck receives the pass from Driver. Plays the ball to Padial. Rare foray forward over the last 5 minutes for Olympic. Padial linking up well with Lek. Here's Diaz, could open up for him. Uses Lek, and then just can't quite keep his footing. Shelford Diaz. And we'll see the last substitution of the night for Olympic. It'll be Christian Waters. Comes onto the field, can play up front or at the back. Justin Mackay, sorry, is also coming off the field. His day is done. Joel Brugge coming on. Well, Yinka Kenyatta is the player who's been withdrawn, so Kristen Waters will be playing in a forward role. He relishes being a big target man. That's exactly what Ben Khan thinks his side needs at the moment, just getting the ball upfield and keeping it up there. Fairly uncompromisingly hammered upfield by Kumineo towards Waters. Waters going to give chase on Yabe. Yabe's pretty comfortable though. Vesey and Taylor exchanging passes, now inside to Thwaite. Smith is the option that presents itself. Goes to Campbell, and that's very sloppy from Gold Coast United, and that really sums up their afternoon. Difficult place to come, Goodwin Park. Difficult way to start your season, but there were high hopes on the Gold Coast. There still are high hopes on the Gold Coast. And of course, there is still time in this one as Padial just with the little back heel to help the ball on its way. Olympics players aren't afraid to show their skills. It's something that's all too easily ignored, I think, sometimes. Ben Khan gives his players those freedoms he has for players that do the simple things right, like Jean-Philippe Lassam, Matt Mundy, and Kumineo. Then he has the flair players as well, and Padial, as young as he is, looks like he could be one of those. He was blooded during the back end of the last season when Olympic, having secured a final berth, played their youngsters. And they coughed up a considerable number of defeats, lost 4 and drew 1 of their last 6 matches. Driver to Lek. Lek goes back across field, had to ride a challenge from Campbell, and there are words exchanged. Lofthouse inside to Padial. Padial looking comfortable on the ball. Driver. Lek. Thwaite. There was a handball there. Play's been allowed to continue though. Ball just deflected up off Lek's foot, I think. It was a heavy touch from the youngster in any case. Glover goes forward to Diaz. Diaz tried to thread the needle through towards Padial. It's popping up all over the place, Padial. Very busy player. Smith. Ball is played through, but Matt Mundy read it perfectly. And Lachlan Hunter will take a little bit of the pace out of the game. It is just meandering a little bit, this one, as we close in on the 90 minutes. Padial does really, really well. That's lovely football and an opportunity now. Lek linking up with Jez Lofthouse. Lofthouse goes round the corner. He cuts back inside. Lek with the shot. Good save from Munford. Excellent positioning from the young New Zealand youth international. Lovely football from Olympic. When they turn it on quickly, and they just strike with such precision. And they do so again here. Here's Jez Lofthouse. A little bit of a tug of the shirt. Lofthouse suggesting that Previs Taylor might want to wait until after the match before they talk about each other's laundry. Ito tried to thread the pass over the top. Swerved invitingly for Shelford Dearce, but then Davidson just got his head onto it to help the ball out. As Lofthouse lost a shin pad in all that and received it back from Jessica Borg, the assistant on this near side. Mundy looking for an option ahead of him. There's nothing particularly inviting, so he'll pass the ball off to Glover. Glover goes back to Hunter. Kuminau and Hunter exchanging passes now. Just inviting Gold Coast United forward to open up those gaps. Those gaps do open up, but Lett can't take the touch, and Michael Thwaite nips in. His pass towards Kuba, though, not the best. Glover in uncharted territory at the moment, and Glover and Kuba just bumping shoulders a couple of times, and Kuba just waving his arm around as if to say there's nothing in that. Kuba bouncing off a couple of Olympic players at the moment, frustration perhaps building. Might not want to bump into Matt Mundy too many times. They do have a couple of collisions though. Matt Mundy just asserting his dominance, and that'll frustrate Daniel Leck. And now they're still bumping into each other, Keane Kuba and Matt Mundy. There are plenty of players on this pitch that you wouldn't want to bump into too many times deliberately, and Matt Mundy is pretty high on that list, I'd expect. Keane Kuba just proving he's not willing to back down. And as a result, they're going to have a bit of a talking to from Izzy Terrell, who did have a couple of fraught moments in the opening stages of his second half. He's managed to get the game back under his control, though. He certainly won't want to lose it in these closing stages. It's been a game that's been entertaining. It's been well refereed and well played by everyone on the park, as Thwaite brings out a bag of tricks to trick Kristen Waters. I'm sure won't take too kindly to that. Neat little interplay there. Slek and Pandial. Driver. Ito has acres of space on this near side, and that's where Driver delivers the ball to. Smattering of applause from the crowd here in the grandstand at Goodwin Park. Mundy. Pace off the ball. Asserting his control. Ito doesn't want it, gives it off to Kumineo. Mundy again, just the back four, passing it to each other at the moment. But it has turned into something of a back three. Very fluid formations employed by Ben Kahn over the course of matches. Just the three players at the back. Kumineo. They want to invite Gold Coast United out, and Gold Coast United aren't being too forthcoming. Don't want to expose themselves to the pace of Jez Lofthouse. Lofthouse is going to try and make something happen for himself anyway. Plays the ball over to the far side of the field, and Shelford Dearce, there's space over there. He'll deliver the ball towards the back post, and Kristen Waters, how's that for a header from Yunya Yabe? Body on the line from the Gold Coast United defender. Absolutely exceptional diving header, because Kristen Waters was ready to pull the trigger, I think. Delightful cross from Shelford Dearce. Lovely ball to set it up from Jez Lofthouse. Good football all round, really. Result is an Olympic corner, their fifth of the evening. Olympic have won 5 of their 7 opening day fixtures in the National Premier League Queensland. They're on track for a 6th. It's an impressive strike rate. Last year, of course, they were due to head up to Mackay to take on the Magpies Crusaders. However, that game got postponed due to the weather. Then Olympic had the bye, so they didn't play for the first 3 weeks of the season, as the ball falls to Lofthouse by way of Kristen Waters, or at least a defender marking Waters. Nothing there for Lofthouse, so he goes to Ito. There's no pressure on Ito, so he may as well take his time over what he decides to do next. Waters goes for a run, so does Lofthouse. Waters just attracted Jamie Vesey with the run. Lofthouse with the fast feet. Fast feet again, second defender to beat. The ball beats both of the attackers as well. That was magical from Jez Lofthouse though. Still there for Olympic. Driver, it wasn't far away. First time shot across the face. Gold Coast United try to get things moving. Time is certainly running out for them at the moment. Sam Smith has his hand up in the middle. He hasn't done much yet, Sam Smith, but he gets the ball on the chest here. Ito's there to take it off his foot though. It'll come back the way of Jamie Vesey though, who just about keeps it in on this near side. Smith made the run. Kuminao came in, and Smith is guilty of this on occasion. And he's going to be shown a yellow card, and that is just one born out of pure frustration from the former Gold Coast Knight. Could have been quite nasty, and James Kuminao is either taking a bit of time to run off the clock or is really feeling that. And it could be a little bit of both, to be honest. I don't mind that this is taking time out of the game. Gold Coast United can't really complain because they have no one to blame but themselves. It was a lazy challenge from Sam Smith, who hasn't quite had the impact that he would have been hoping for in a white shirt so far this season. Although it's, of course, very early days. He was one of the players that I was excited to see how he'd do for Gold Coast United, having left Knights. Kuminao gets to his feet, and a smattering of applause echoes and ripples around the ground. Kuminao is walking incredibly gingerly. I don't think he'll be moving too far from that spot. So Olympic will be placing a premium on keeping possession. They go upfield towards Kristen Waters, and it almost fell for Paddy Al, but Bruggy was there, and Bruggy does well to deliver the ball off to Campbell. Campbell plays the ball wide to Thum Davidson. Kian Cuba, how much running has he got left in his legs? Enough to challenge Dearce and cut back inside and deliver a cross almost onto the head of Brandon Reeves. And Brandon Reeves, you fancy, if he'd just taken a chance there and attacked that ball, well, we could be talking about quite a different story at the end of this match. Kuminao is limping around. Hope he's not doing more damage to that leg as Thun Davidson releases Cuba. This could be dangerous. Taylor must have been close to being offside there. If they can deliver the ball to Sam Smith in this situation, could be very dangerous for Olympic. They only half clear it. Here's Vesey. Now Smith is on the ball, but a bit too far away from the goal to make too much of an impact. Plays it inside to Vesey. Vesey with a good cross, arriving at the back post, and it wasn't far away from Reeves. He's taken a couple of Olympic defenders with him, has Reeves, as he crashed into that one, and it only went the wrong side of the post by a matter of inches. And Olympic, having been in such control, are in danger of giving something away here. And you'd have to say it would be 2 points dropped if they were to cough up a draw here. It's worth saying they have not lost to Gold Coast United in the National Premier League Queensland in the last 2 years. Izzy Terrell has had enough of the time wasting from Lockie Hunter. No card forthcoming though, just a peep of the whistle. Hunter goes long and goes too long. Kristen Waters is going to chase, and it's been a brief battle, but it's been entertaining between he and Yabe. Yabe on the ball now. Two big men. We talked about how big Sam Smith is. Kristen Waters probably has him in terms of his chest. Lofthouse can't quite get his foot onto the ball, and it's been allowed to run by Vesey for Taylor. Lovely cross! That could have been very, very interesting from Travis Taylor. Not sure whether he went for goal or tried to pick out Kian Cuba at the back post. But the Gold Coast United fans at the far end of the grandstand were on their feet as that ball whistled past the upright. heart in your mouth moment in stoppage time here at Goodwin Park for the Olympic faithful. Pressure still coming from Gold Coast United. Vesey controls that one well. Taylor's really grown into this game, but he can't quite pick up the pass, and this is where Waters earns his bacon, holding the ball up. But that battle with Yarbe, neither of the two combatants came out on top on that occasion really, but Waters couldn't pick out a pass, so I guess it's a victory chalked up for Gold Coast United. Space on this near side for Vesey. Thwaite finds him, but it's a slow pass along the ground, allowing Lofthouse to come and close him down. Lofthouse is there, gets a little touch. Taylor's played in though. Taylor slides, and Kumanau has staged something of a miraculous recovery, although he's still feeling and still limping away now. He needs to be on his toes, and he's limping back into position. Needs to get across to Sam Smith, although that's excellent over on that far side from Driver. Now Padial. Padial linking up with Driver, or is it Leck? Cross played across. Waters is there, can't quite get a shot away. The rain has started to come down now. It was Leck who delivered the ball. The rain is coming down. Gold Coast United are pressing. Here's Kian Kuba. Umbrellas are going up all around us. Cuba's cutting back inside. Here's Sam Smith. Sam Smith fires. It comes off Mundy and flies away. Christian Waters back defending. It's fallen for Campbell. Campbell, it's going to fall all its way through to Campbell, is it? Campbell hauls Jack Glover to the ground, and that is the last action we see. Incredibly, Olympic were holding on a little bit at the end there, having been so comfortable with their 1-0 lead by way of Jez Lofthouse in the first half, but they have held on to take all 3 points here at Goodwin Park. Gold Coast United disappointing for probably 85 minutes of that match before finally getting some attacking impetus. They came oh so close to an equaliser from Travis Taylor's cross-come shot, but almost snuck in at the stanchion between the crossbar and the post. But in the end, battered and bruised Olympic side with limping James Kumineo, almost terminally, you'd have to say, in terms of his defensive ability in the final stages of that match, was just able to hold out Gold Coast United. They take on Knights in the derby on Saturday. It's just one fixture in a bumper lineup of matches over the course of round 2 of the NPL season. There is still one match to take place this midweek from round 1. Lions are taking on Moreton Bay United tomorrow at 7:30. Wanderers against the Raw. Strikers against Gold Coast Knights. Capella Bar against East, and Redlands United against City will be played at a later date. Brisbane City host Peninsula Power. Gold Coast United against Gold Coast Knights, we mentioned that a couple of times. Moreton Bay United host Wanderers. Redlands United against Lions. Magpies Crusaders take on Strikers in Mackay. They're the matches on Saturday, and then on Sunday the Raw host Capella Bar and Olympic take on East here at Goodwin Park. So we'll be back on Saturday afternoon for the Gold Coast Derby. Hope you've enjoyed this match. It has been a double take production for Football Queensland. I've been Simon Smale. It's been a pleasure to have you here as the Football Queensland National Premier League's Queensland season gets underway, and it got underway with a 3 points for Olympic, a 1 goal to nil victory. Jez Lofthouse was the goal scorer. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we hope you enjoy your evening. Good night.